Hello, Feminine Roadmappers. It's Gina here. Welcome back to Feminine Roadmap Inspires. And today, my storyteller is Jenny Beeghly. She is a 20-year plus veteran of the fashion industry, and she is currently thriving and surviving her leukemia journey. She is also an entrepreneur, and so she's going to be sharing with us part of her heart and her mission and how leukemia has changed her vision and what she is doing now to thrive in life. So, Jenny, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. And of course, this is all about Jenny's heart, and Jenny's mission. So why don't you tell us about yourself and what it is that is important to you in your heart and your life today?
So I'm a wife, mother of two girls, 14 and 8. And as of last year, April 2018, I was diagnosed suddenly with leukemia. I've heard of leukemia, but knew nothing about it. And so, and leukemia is a blood cancer. And it's one of those things that's random. It's not genetics. It has nothing to do with, there's nothing that you could do to prevent from having it. It's just, I don't know what the odds are, but it's pretty slim. And I was one of those people that was diagnosed with it. I was the lucky one. And it came to me as a surprise because at work, I would be the one at lunchtime leading workouts, going up and down the stairs. Let's do squat challenges. So, and here's my husband who's a whiskey drinker, just meat eater. And I'm a meat eater, but I thought if anyone's going to go down, it's going to be him. I got to take care of him. So for me to contract cancer was a big surprise to me. So that was April. And the challenges of having leukemia is not all leukemia, but the one that I had was pretty aggressive. So you have to find not a blood match, but a genetic match. And so you have to, there's a bone marrow donor pool. And the pool that represents minorities is so small. And not only just minorities, but I'm of Korean descent. So it should be of another person that is Korean. And so all of my family, they were ready to be a bone marrow donor, but they're all, the ideal age is the younger the better. And if you're over 44, you can become a donor, but you have to pay. And not that that's a bad thing, but, so all of my cousins are in their 60s. I said, no, you're too old. No, I don't want your old bone marrow. And so to find a match was very difficult. So a lot of my friends and family created donor booths at university, at churches, at festivals. So I was touched by so many people in my community, friends, people that I knew but not knew that well. They reached out to anyone that they knew that they were Korean. And so even though I went through a lot of difficult times, I was loved and touched by everyone's efforts. And I was lucky to find a match.
Was that match someone you knew or someone you didn't know?
That I didn't know. I'm an only child, and usually they test your family or your siblings most likely. But since I don't have any, they had to go outside. So it's one of those hard cancers. I thought if I had cancer, okay, let's give chemo, chop off what you need to, let's move forward. But this is one of those things that you have to find a match. And I just felt hopeless, helpless. And so when I did find a match, I was elated, needless to say. So it was great. However, my journey kept continuing. So after 8 months, I found out that I relapsed again. Did another bone marrow transplant with a different one, and I was able to find another one. So I feel blessed that I was able to, find a match, which is pretty rare. And then just recently, I just found out I relapsed again. So it's been a journey. It's been challenging physically, mentally. But this time I did a clinical trial called CAR T cell. I was lucky enough to qualify. You have to qualify, meaning I have to have had bone marrow transplants before that failed, just everything, and everything worked out. And I actually, I've been out of the hospital since November, and I feel good. I'm cautiously good. I feel cautiously good. But while I was in the hospital the first time, there's a lot of time you're in the hospital, and my cousin, who's an ER doctor, he's like a brother to me since I'm an only child, and he would call every single day, seeing how I was, and he mentioned maybe starting a scrubs company. And I said, no, I don't know anything about scrubs. No. But when I went back to my hospital room, I was trying to think of companies that I wanted to do, because I knew my life was going to change afterwards. Going back to a company would have been, I could do it, but it would maybe be a little bit more challenging. So I thought about it, and I thought, all these people that are helping me, how do I give back? How do I let people know about becoming a bone marrow donor? Because years ago, someone had asked me to become one, and I said yes, but never did it. So I feel completely guilty that I didn't do it before. And I used to think bone marrow, I'm like, that's too painful. Because I think the myth is, people have to go into the bone, pull out the marrow. It's difficult. It's not like that. They inject you with something to boost your bone marrow, and it's almost like pulling blood, as easy as pulling blood. So I just want to send the message that it's not as painful as it used to be. And to get more minorities to, beef up the bone marrow donor. So my cousin, he came up with this idea, and I thought, you know what? I can use this as a tool to give back. One, to fuel my entrepreneurship. One, to give back I'd love to give proceeds back to Be the Match, to City of Hope, and to the Leukemia Society, and Cancer Society. So I thought, okay, I went back with my cousin. We talked about it. There's another partner, so there's 3 of us. So I thought that this is a good avenue for me to touch all points. Mm-hmm. So our company is called Parrilla, and that's it's a Korean sesame leaf. Okay. And so it has just tons of health benefits. It's of Korean descent, so I thought this is a perfect name. So that was the birth of this company, and I'm hoping, on many levels, I hope it grows. So, I'm going to be talking with Be the Match pretty soon, American Cancer Society, on how we can partnership, because I want to be able to give back to all the people that have helped me.
So Jenny, how is all of this really impactful in the season of life that you're in?
Oh gosh, I'm approaching 50, and, before all of this has happened, I knew that time was precious, and having gone through what I've gone through, it's even times 10 more precious. So I've always wanted to have my own business. I always wanted to be passionate about it. I always wanted to give back, and now's the time. I can't hold back. I have to think each day, make the most of it. So that's where I am. I think that's where a lot of my friends are. My husband, just all of that. So before, my daughter would say, "Oh, can you come back? And I just need one more hug." I'm like, yeah, of course. So all those little tiny things, the hugs, and paying a little bit more attention to the homework. Yeah. And, creating my own destiny for the second half of my life. So yeah, that's where I am right now.
Isn't it amazing how one little thing can shift the way that we feel or look at something in life? And I'm sure that leukemia, because it is rare and because you have a more aggressive form, it probably feels that much more impactful to you,
Yes.
right?
Oh
And
gosh, it's just scary in so many ways, because it has come back a couple of times. But at the same time, I feel loved. I love that I've felt loved before, but I love them. But now I know they love me so much, And yes, my family loves me, but like just a lot of people that I knew as acquaintances have become really good friends.
mm,
So it's amazing what people do. And I get multiple texts each day, visits at the hospital, visits here, people thinking of me, and I can't wait. Not that I want someone to get sick, but to pay it forward to someone else
mhm.
and be there for that person. So, um, yeah, I've seen
How has
some.
that impacted the way that you show up in relationships?
Oh gosh. I mean, before I'd be like, oh, I'll do it later. There is no later. I really try to say, oh, I've got to do it now. If I'm thinking of that person, I'll say, oh, I'll text them later. And sometimes it doesn't happen,
Right.
so I will, or I'll just call them, and before I'd be afraid of talking on the phone because we're such a text society. So I thought, no, I'll call them. What am I afraid of? So, just trying to be as meaningful to them as they have been for me. So that's how it's definitely, yeah, changed me in that respect. So
It seems like cancer has that effect on people. It's like a
yeah,
clarifier somehow.
gosh, I mean, I knew nothing about it. Now my friends and family are informed of leukemia. I didn't know there's different levels, different types, what's involved. So now because I've had it, other people have heard of leukemia and other people getting it. So they direct them to me, and I love it. And through my company, we've been on some news pieces and people have been touched by it. So they will write to me and saying, I loved your story. And, I had a guy recently, he bought some scrubs, but he was buying it for his daughter because she was in dental school, but he had leukemia.
Oh,
And so he was emailing me, and I said, you know what, just call me. And we talked for an hour. I think he needed someone to talk to because he hadn't had anyone to talk to that had experienced the same thing.
hmm.
So it was the best thing. It just, we talked about our side effects, what our family has gone through, all of that. So, uh, this company has meant a lot to me because I got to, meet a lot of really amazing people. So,
And when you said yes to your cousin about this scrubs thing, what was that journey like to
oh
learn about that industry?
gosh, he is, like I said, like a brother to me. And I think he's always known me as, you know, smiling and laughing and, like the fun cousin. But when it comes down to business, I'm pretty detailed oriented and very business and, try to give it to him or tell him what I really feel. So I think he saw like a different side of me because I take it serious and I wanted to have a good product um, that had a mission. So it's been fun. We're learning a lot, and it has just brought us closer. So
What's the concept behind Parrilla?
it is because my cousin is a doctor, and because there's tons of scrubs out there that are ill-fitting. Maybe the fabric isn't as comfortable. So we wanted to have something that was that fit really well, had a little bit more athletic fit to it. It's like the Lululemon of scrubs. So we wanted to have fabric that had antimicrobial, wrinkle resistant, um, super soft. So I think we wanted to just upgrade the typical scrubs that people are wearing. So, and we wanted to add some fun colors. So that's where, and so I know, of course I know fashion, but he knows the industry. So
Hmm.
he gives me, you know, girls don't want put their badges right here on their pocket, because then the patient's looking right at their chest. So we put like a little hidden seam. We put the badge up here so the eyes are lifted up a little bit more. So we put pockets because they have tons of, all these tools and papers that they have. So we have tons of pockets, fun little features. So he was able to provide me that because, he's in that environment. So it's been a great relationship.
Are you enjoying this kind of fashion industry?
I am. I mean, in the fashion industry, you're always chasing trends, and I'm at the age where I'm like, okay, I'm exhausted from chasing trends. So, and this one it's for us. It's meaningful, and it's a way for me to push my mission on bone marrow donor awareness, leukemia awareness, cancer awareness. And so, it feels amazing. It feels good. And so while I was in the hospital the last couple of times, it kept my mind off of being in the hospital. It, allowed me to work on something else, greater than myself. So
Yeah,
it's been nice.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what mindset shifts have taken place that have taken you from the Jenny you were pre-diagnosis to the Jenny you are today? Because I'm sure that you're not the same person.
No.
That there had to be at some point a decision that you made in your mind, a different way of thinking to handle life as it was now and as it is going forward. So, what mindset shifts did you actually kind of find yourself either learning or putting into place so that the woman you are today is the woman that you want to be? And how did you handle that change? Like, do you grieve before, or are you just really appreciating today?
Oh gosh, I was so stressed prior to being diagnosed. Being a working mom, it's just, oh gosh, just doing well at work, being a great wife, being a great mother, coming home, making dinner, cleaning. It was extremely stressful. Right now, I feel like life is a little bit more balanced, but it's still stressful because you're launching a new line, but it's good stress. This is something that I feel like can be impactful. So I feel like I'm productive, but I'm less stressed. And before, when I was stressed, I was a little bit more temperamental. And I feel like now I let things go. Like my husband sometimes won't refill the toilet paper, and I would get upset. And now I'm like, ugh, there's so many little things. I'm like, it's not worth it. Never mind. It's okay. So I let a lot of little things go that used to upset me. And now, my mindset has been like, don't sweat the little stuff. Just so that's where my mind shift has changed a little bit. So,
You know, that's what I hear a lot.
yes.
People that have been through cancer, that is the biggest shift, is the one that they no longer sweat the small stuff
Yeah.
because you've had a glimpse of, wait a minute, time is of the essence, right?
Right. No, I would do, we would, as a husband and wife, we do a bunch of little things to, jab at each other. And he likes the fan on, I like the fan off. And so it's just like, oh, whatever. It's okay. If those are the things I'm complaining about, then, we're doing pretty good. So, um,
That's a powerful mindset shift. Really recognizing that maybe the things that we thought were so annoying are really blessings because that's the worst that it is, right?
yes, right.
Oh, the fan's on. That's the worst thing I have to say today.
I know, exactly. Yeah.
How about your relationship with your children? How did your cancer diagnosis and the journey this far, how did that impact them?
So my older one, she holds a lot of emotion inside.
Hmm.
So I would say we try to keep her life as normal as possible.
Hmm.
So yes, I think she's affected, but I don't see it as much. And maybe it'll come out a little bit later. But at the moment, we try to keep it as normal. My younger one is the one who's been most affected.
Hmm.
Um, she sees me taking my pills. She makes sure, oh, mom, you know, have you taken your pills? Have you flushed your PIC line? Have you? So she's been more of a caretaker, and that's her nature anyway. But or she loves to boss me around, so she likes to tell me. And I thought, I just put a little seed in her head, and maybe you could be a doctor, a cancer doctor, because you've seen me go through it. But she's only 8, so. But I just thought that would be pretty nice, and she's smart. She's a caretaker. That could be an avenue that she'd want to do. So um, my mother-in-law has been helpful. She lives up in the Bay Area and I'm in Orange County, and she's come down to help me. So she's been able to assist, my younger one a little bit more. So,
And
uh,
how do you find that balance in helping them live a quote normal life so
uh,
that they don't, lose their childhood to this journey? Have
yeah,
you done anything special to kind of help them understand that they can still be a child?
especially my older one, she's on the ski team
Hmm.
up in Mammoth. And so, a lot of people questioned, oh, so my husband and my older one live up in Mammoth during the ski season or the school season. And then we're together. So I go up to Mammoth every weekend if I'm not in the hospital. Um, I go up there every weekend. And in the summer, we live back together again. So a lot of people were questioning, oh, I guess she's going to be coming back down to Irvine. And I said, no. How is she going to help me if she comes back down? I want her to keep her life. I want her to keep it normal. So I want her to stay there. I want her to be on the ski team. Her coming down here, as much as I'd love to see her, that would hurt me. Um, so we kept her up there. We kept her ski schedule, her ski races as normal as possible. So
Hmm.
the younger one, she's down here with me. So um, just keeping
Which
all of our
probably
activities the same.
intensifies that caregiving because she's the one that's with you.
Yes, she's the one that's with me. So my mother-in-law was able to help keep her schedule, her art classes, rock climbing, just all of that as normal as possible. I don't want them to, I don't know, I don't want to take those things away and have them be resentful. I want them to still be kids and still learn. And, but at the same time, I don't want them to not know what I've been going through. So they see me, they come to visit at the hospital. So, I'm sure I'll hear more about it when they get older.
Right, right. The intersection of this experience in midlife, how does that feel for you? Because midlife has its own set of things going on and decisions and emotions as well, right?
Midlife crisis. Yeah, midlife
Yeah,
correct.
just
Yeah, crisis or not.
crisis or not, although it does feel like a crisis sometimes
Yeah.
because it feels like somebody just dropped a bomb in your life and everything exploded and you're like, what in the world is happening to me? So, I was wondering, as you're looking at midlife, we talked about this before we hit record, just the idea that, what am I going to do with this next half of my life? And how
Yes.
has this leukemia journey really impacted those, let's just natural transition thoughts and giving you some perspective?
I never thought I'd be having midlife questions. I saw a lot of my friends, um, my husband, all of that. So for me, it was more about career because
Mm,
um, I just wanted to, or health and career. And I knew I wasn't perfect on health, but it was like, I knew I was making some efforts on it, just a little bit working out, eating well. But at the same time, I was enjoying my drinks and enjoying, a hamburger or, pork belly or something. So I felt like I was balanced. But it was just more the career that I thought, this is something, it's now or never. I got to start something on my own. And I would try a little dabble on jewelry and handbags, but that's a dime a dozen, that how, you can set them apart. And I'm not on the pulse of trend like I used to be as I was younger. So I just felt like approaching that age, and especially having leukemia, I thought like time is of the essence.
Mhm.
Don't keep saying no. Don't be afraid. So I love learning, and there's, I mean, with owning a company, there's so, marketing is so different from what it was, whatever, last year, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So there's so much to learn, especially at our age, of what's happening in marketing, because it's so different with the social media.
Mhm.
So I have to, there's moments when I'm scared, and I thought, no, you know, dive in, do it. So that's what I'm doing right now. And it's not my expertise because I'm used to doing the design and the development. But when you have a company, there's a whole business section part of it, the
Mhm.
sales, the marketing. So this leukemia has helped me, seize the day, go, don't hold back, at least do something each day. So, and sometimes there's days when I don't feel well, and I got to listen to that and I rest. But the days that I do feel good, move forward, just keep moving forward. So, um, I think a lot of my friends, they're like, how did you do this in the hospital? I'm like, I don't know, but I wanted to keep moving forward and keep my brain active and
Mhm.
all of
Mhm.
that. So
Yeah, and I love that you said, don't be afraid. Just do the thing and keep moving forward. To
yes.
think sometimes it's easy to feel overwhelmed by all of the pieces. And so moving forward in just some sort of way, and excuse me. And so you've got, your leukemia journey, you've got your parenting journey, you're a wife, you're a family member, and now you're a business owner. How are you connecting all of that to the mission of raising awareness?
So I'm going to be talking to Be the Match. So they are a bone marrow donor for minorities. So they helped me. They're amazing. Be the Match and not. I'm sorry. Be the Match is a bone marrow donor organization, but
Mhm.
A3M is one that just specializes in minorities. So I'd like to, all of this. I'm hoping that company as the company grows, that am able to have a platform or a voice to say, so, on their website, we say we'd like to give a certain amount of profits to these organizations. But I mean, money is great, but I want also efforts, like I'd like to help with setting up donor booths or sending out the message, because I think that's also as important as well. So, um, somehow through the websites, through emails. So I'm talking to Be the Match, I'm sorry, today, on how we can partner on, cross promotion. And I want to tell my story and they can help me get my story out. So, um, and, I think a lot of people, they didn't know that there was such a um, small representation of minorities in the donor pool. And, even now my kids are half, so they're half Asian, half white. Um, they're going to have problems, because yeah, at least it's not at least, but, I'm full Korean. So, I need to find someone that is of the same ethnicity, but they are
Mhm.
half. So they're going to have, some problems, finding matches. So
Interesting. So
yeah.
there's the whole educational piece about what bone marrow donation is, how
Yes.
it works, and
Yes.
and the specificity of it, it sounds like.
Yes. I mean, in the beginning, it's pretty easy. You get a kit and it's a cotton swab. And so you do the cotton swab, you send it back, and then you just wait to hear if you're a match. And you're not committed to it, So, hopefully during that time, you're a little bit more educated. You won't be as afraid, and you can make that decision of saving someone's life. So, um, but, in the beginning, it's not as if giving blood. It's just a cotton swab, pretty easy. And then, go from there.
They're checking the DNA with that.
Yes.
Interesting.
Amazing, right?
Yeah, it is amazing. Technology is just mind blowing.
It is.
So now, how have you um, been doing physically in your leukemia journey? Where are you at right now? I know you were in the hospital in November. That would be November of 2019.
Yes.
So, where are you at in your journey now?
Gosh, the last couple of transplants, I came home when I was pretty weak. So this time I feel in my core stronger. Um, but I'm still have lost a lot of weight. So I'm just trying to, which is weird for me. So I'm trying to eat as much as I can. Um, I've always been like maybe 5 or 10 pounds, like, okay, try to cut back on eating. Now I'm like, I have to change my mindset of eat everything and as much as I can. So,
I'm sure being in the fashion industry didn't help
no,
with that mindset.
just being a woman. I mean, just that's the mindset. So now I'm weak physically, but I'm trying to gain that back. But as far as my core, like I feel good. The test results have been great. So, but as I've learned this past year and a half, I'm just taking each day because you can blink and it'll relapse again the next day. So I've been through it. Um, and yeah, just taking each day, enjoying each day.
Enjoying each day. And
Yeah.
what does that look like to you? Like, what are the priorities and the things that are important to you post leukemia journey? As I know you're still in it, but you talked about slowing down.
Slowing down, and family. Oh gosh. My daughter's 14. Now she wants to be with her friends. She's off at ski races. I don't get to see her as much as I'd like to. And I feel like it's a critical time, during the teenage years. So I think family, gosh, I sure try to make as much time, especially over the holidays. We're seeing friends, we're seeing family, but I want a day or two where I want them to have memories if I were to pass away of me. And I feel sad about my youngest one because I know my older one will have memories of me, but my youngest one, when I think back, what is my earliest years of my memory? And I have snippets, of 7 and 8, maybe a little bit younger, but everything, more memories are more probably 10 and above.
Hmm.
So I try to create memories, try to keep certain sayings that I tell them, that they'll remember, create certain foods that they'll, trigger memories of me. So
Hmm.
that's that's what's most important to me.
It sounds like a bit of a legacy, like you're building a legacy
I hope
with
so.
these memories.
Yeah. I want, either with my company Parrilla, with the food, with things I say, I hope it has some kind of impact on them. And, I just want to be there for the, what makes me sad about everything is that I won't be there in the event that I were to pass away. I wouldn't be there for their milestones,
Hmm.
graduation, marriage, kids.
Yeah.
Uh, so those things make me sad. So um, other than that, yeah.
Now, do they talk about percentages with you with the kind of leukemia that you have, and what kind of leukemia specifically do you have?
So I have something called ALL, acute lymphotic leukemia,
Hmm.
and that's usually more in kids and young adults, but occasionally in adults. So um, yeah, so that's the kind of leukemia I have.
And what are they telling you right now
But the
about your
percentage,
journey? Mhm.
they don't tell me that, but never go on the web. So of course I go on the web and it's horrible. Like the percentages, I'm like, that's the percentage, whatever it is. But some of those studies are 10 years ago or 5 years ago, but things have changed every single year. And sometimes, my husband keeps telling me those percentages are skewed, there's, a lot of older people. So I look at it and I try to push it away. So, but like I mentioned, I did the CAR T cell, which is a clinical trial. It's new. It's been receiving great response, but again, there's not that much history on it. So, um, and sometimes I'll read, like the highest deaths, cancer deaths, like, and one of the top 5 is like leukemia. And I'm like, oh, great. Don't read the web. Don't. So, and, I'll meet amazing people at the hospital. There was a nurse, she had leukemia 20 years ago, so I don't know. I just have, like I said, making each day meaningful. So,
That's really good advice just in general
yes.
to make every day meaningful. I know for me, it's like all of a sudden time has passed. You ever have that moment where you're like, how did that much time pass? We think it's been a couple of weeks and it's actually been a couple of months.
Yeah.
Or all of a sudden someone's like, oh, Christmas is next week. And I'm like, what?
I know.
I thought I still had time,
Right.
So does that experience that you've been through with the leukemia and the relapses, has that really kind of condensed the reality of time for you?
Yes. I mean, I'm so much more conscious of time than I was before. And I was always organized prior to this, but now it's exponential. So, um, someone was talking about, one of my girlfriends, we were talking about retirement plan. Well, where would we like to retire? I'm like, girl, I'm just trying to make it to next week,
If
So,
it's happening next week, we can talk about it.
yes.
Uh,
So she felt bad, and I was like, oh, I didn't mean to make you feel bad, but that's where my mindset is, like that's a little bit too far out there at the moment, but
so you're really, um, it
day
sounds
by
like,
day.
yeah, today, today
Yes,
is the day you're living at the moment.
yes,
Now I see you have your Parrilla behind you.
yes.
Yes. And so how old is the company now?
So we launched July of 2019, at the end of
Okay.
July. Yes, so we just started. My cousin partner, he has been promoting it at his hospital. We were featured on LA Times. There was a news piece up in the Bay Area, so we've got some press, got some knowledge, but it's hard to spread the word. But so far, great reaction, and so yes, this is our final product right here.
That's exciting. And are
Yeah.
you loving that journey?
I am. Oh gosh, it's so much learning and so much work, but I absolutely love it. And I love the people that I meet and hearing their stories and how they were touched. And I hope that I can, as much as people have touched me, I'd like to do that for other people. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm
So
excited.
what's next for Jenny?
Gosh, this is going to be my concentration, which is Parrilla, which is trying to spread the word. Um, and that's my mission, trying to meet with all the American Cancer Society, just everyone I can, so that we can spread the word. So
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you, Jenny, so much for saying yes and sharing your authentic journey and the real, being raw and real about the fears that you have as well as the hopes that you have. I really appreciate
yeah,
that.
thank you for having me. You've been wonderful. Thank you.
So don't forget to subscribe down below. There will be links there so you can get in connection with these organizations that Jenny has been talking about. Those scrubs you see in the background from her will also have a link to that. So please, if you want to reach out to Jenny through her website, reach out to those cancer organizations, share the message, share this video, subscribe and share, my friends, because you never know who is going to be impacted by this message, because sometimes it just takes one person to share what they've heard or what they've seen, and then we get a trickle down effect of impact in the world. So we thank you for joining arms with me and with Jenny and sharing the messages that you've heard today. Have a wonderful day, my friends. Thanks so much for joining us, Jenny.
Thank you. Thank you so
Talk-
much.
My pleasure.